Hey there, welcome to the channel again. I wanted to show you in this video how I take a piece of copy that I wrote together with AI, or whether I write and refine it myself, and how I validate it before actually launching it live. And by validating, I mean, how do I optimize it to the point where I'm pretty confident it's gonna hit the mark and is going to have higher or the highest chance of making an input, converting, depending of what type of copy we're talking about. So let's go and look at our workflow. So I created, to test and to optimize all of this, I created what I call the message testing pyramid, right? So this is my framework that I use to take any piece of copy and pass it through a couple of questions, whether I ask customers or whether, as I'll show you in a moment, I ask AI personas to go through these questions. But the way that this framework works is that it's not specific to any ICP product or market, but it's specific to the psychology behind how people make decisions and the sequence that people use when they make decisions on any piece of copy that's designed to sell them and to convert them, right? Especially when it comes to a website copy, email, sales collateral, anything. It's a pyramid because first we start with foundations. So we have 10 different layers, each layer with a different sets of questions. We start the foundations, which is awareness, right? So we want to figure out, does the message match the reader's current understanding and context? Then we have sophistication. Does the message match their experience level with the category or problem? Emotional connection. We want to speak to them emotionally. Job to be done. Does the message align with the progress they're trying to make? Belief barriers. Reveal underlying doubts or missing assurances. Does the order of information match how they naturally decide? This is the decision sequence. Identity alignment. Does the message fit how they see themselves and who they want to be? Differentiation, super important. Does the message feel distinct and meaningful, not generic? Cognitive ease, is the message easy to understand and repeat? And finally, we have momentum and next step. So does the message create a natural desire to take the next step? All of these are great questions that you can either ask, again, as I mentioned, customers, real people, or AI once you have your AI personas. And I'm going to link to another video and an article on what synthetic research actually is, so you can get more context. But these are all questions that you can ask to validate and test your messaging before going live or after to iterate. So the way that I do it for this video especially, I use this tool, which is called Juma AI, which is pretty great when it comes to creating projects. So I use it for all of my clients' work. But for the purpose of this video, I created a fictional company, which is called CloudSync. And we have everything that we would normally have for any of my client projects here. So we have a knowledge base here where you can store information, data sources. So we have a simple prompt. This is basically the conversion copywriter project. And then the knowledge base is the strategic documents. So what I normally do for clients, I prepare a messaging framework, a positioning canvas, research and insight report that has every little information that we need about the audience, about the competition, about the product, and finally, value proposition canvas, which is an extension of the messaging framework. All of this instructs this project to help me write pretty good, 80-90% good draft copy, right? So I used it to start writing a homepage draft. We won't go super deep into the writing process here, but we already have this chat opened. What I've done was basically create the outline first of the homepage, which we have here, right? So this is section 1, and we have other section. Then I refined a headline a couple of times with a message copy editing prompt. And finally, I landed on this piece of copy here that we have here. So this was our final copy polished. I ran a quick test round using this process that I'm going to show you now, but I wanted to show you starting from the original headline, right? So let's do the same thing that I've done again. So the process works pretty seamlessly. Here we have the other platforms that we're going to use, Rally. So this is probably one of the best, easiest to use platforms for synthetic research that I've found out there. What we have here is a calibrated audience. These are literally clones or very close mirrors of real people. So we actually have I created a buying committee. So you could actually, in our audiences, you could create your own audience, but these calibrated audiences are a bit more accurate, a bit more realistic, let's say. So you can see that I have a couple different audiences for clients, but this is our calibrated audience, which again acts like clone mirrors of our ICPs. So I've created a target audience or ICP group, decision-making unit for this fictional company specifically, CloudSync. So we have the software engineer, the founder, and these are basically potential customers of CloudSync. So we have founder, we have the CTO, the operations manager, the AI engineer, right? So what we can do is basically take any piece of copy that we write here in Juma AI and ask questions to our persona panel, right? So we open a chat. And this is basically pretend like you have your customers in front of you. You can ask them anything that you want on any piece of copy or just any questions to just explore the audience deeper, right? And learn more about them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this. So this, let's say it's the above the fold. I'm going to paste it here in the chat. I'm going to leave these descriptors just so that the audience know what the sections are. I'm going to write a simple prompt. I'm actually going to dictate it, which is easier. You stumble on a homepage of a website and you see this copy. All right, and then I'm going to ask them a question. My question is, and then I'm going to literally pick from our bank of questions. Since we're using a headline value proposition, I'm very curious here to learn whether or not we are hitting the awareness, sophistication especially, and emotional connection probably the most important jobs to be done as well. But let's start with the first one. So awareness. I want to learn what do they know about market, product, and competitors maybe. Sophistication, I want to learn how much they know, right? And emotional connection, I want to see whether or not this resonates emotionally. So I'm going to pick one of these questions when it comes to awareness. Let's see. Did anything feel like it came too early or too late? This might need a bit more context. Which parts feel clear to you? Which parts feel unclear, if any? So this is a good awareness question. I'm going to ask it here. You can pick different models here. There's a smart mode. Google is typically the more realistic one, so let's stick with this one. And I'm going to press go. We should see kind of a group response first, and then we can dig into the individual response of all participants. So you can see the group response here. The overall consensus is that the headline and the problems it addresses are very clear and resonate well with the audience. The key pain point is the loss of engineering knowledge when people leave. The subheadline is understood, but there's skepticism about claims of automation, particularly zero manual effort. We can see the individual responses, right? So I want to dig specifically into the CTO one, since this is our primary persona for this product. And you can see the detailed feedback. Okay, let's see. Stop losing years of engineering knowledge when people leave. That's pretty clear. Hits the nail on the head, especially after the whole debacle with Susan leaving and taking all her Kubernetes secrets with her. And they have some context injected in, right? So all of these are details that are realistic, plausible. that help with giving us feedback. And keep in mind, this is still a fictional company, right? So these personas are not generated on real interview transcript or research data. So still, we should take this with a grain of salt. Obviously, if I would do this for a client, I would have real human data to actually build these personas off of, which would be way better. But let's take it for what it is now. Okay, that was a mess. Should have used one password. Preserve every technical decision, code review, and select discussion automatically. All right, I got the part 2. That's what code sync is supposed to do, right? So your team never scrambles for context. Yeah, that's the dream. Less time wasted. The CTA, straight to the point. I like that. Build a CTA, see how clients saying capture knowledge from Slack, GitHub, Jira with zero manual effort. Good. List the integrations right there. Zero manual effort is a bit of a stretch though. Unclear parts, maybe the 50% faster onboarding claim needs some backup. And zero manual effort is slight exaggeration. Okay, so let's say that this is feedback that we got. What I'm gonna do is to copy paste this into our chat here. And I'm gonna say, okay, so here's the copy that I've tested. And I'm actually gonna paste this just to give it context on the exact copy that we are talking about, just because I've edited up here and I want to go back to this version. And then I'm gonna go here and copy paste this piece of feedback. Here's the feedback that we've gotten from our CTO persona. What are parts that we could optimize in our value prop headline? Or what are other things that we could improve to make this resonate more? And then we paste the feedback. Let's see. And keep in mind, this chat in Yuma AI is going to give me proper feedback just because it's using all the strategy documents that we have in our knowledge base, right? It's not that I'm chatting with a blank JTBD project, right? So it's got the knowledge that we need to improve it about our personas, but the feedback gives it a more specific direction and an approach to optimize the copy. Okay, so I impact optimizations. We have city button critical change. See how in a 5-minute demo. Direct feedback. Demos are for the suits, not us. They should A/B test the demo with a free trial. That's what I click on, but the demo button has got to go. Recommendation, change CTA, start free trial, or try it free. Why? Derek is an engineering executive, not a traditional enterprise buyer. He wants hands-on validation, not a sales conversation. Free trial, lower friction, self-service, engineering friendly, aligns with skepticism. Right, so these are all great points. Alternative, if you need to keep the demo path, try it free or book a 5-minute demo. And then there was the other point, the 50% faster onboarding claim, add proof. Bold claim, we were saying this is the quote, right? Derek is already a customer. Yeah, so these are basically simulated customers. And he's skeptical of the 50% claim. Add a proof qualifier to the headline. And new engineers on board up to 50% faster, average 35 to 50% across teams, up to 50% faster. Option B, add credibility. So you can see that it gives us a couple of options. And then we have the zero manual effort, soften the absolute, all the recommendations, total integration specificity, add flexibility signal. So all recommendations and adjustments that it gave us based on this synthetic feedback, right? And then we have revised copy, incorporating all optimizations. Stop losing years of engineering knowledge when people leave. Preserve every technical decision, so your team scrambles for context, institutional knowledge, rise turnover, engineer on board 50% faster. Try it free, see how Cloud Sync captures knowledge from Slack, and more automatically, no documentation required. Then we have a summary of changes, and then we have optional additional A/B test recommendations, different variants that we can test. All right, so let's try and give it this one. So now that we have this one, what we can do is come here and say, Okay, after seeing that headline, you stumble on this one. Does this resonate better with you? If so, why? Let's see. All right, it says, okay, let me take a look at this. Stop losing years of engineering knowledge when people leave. Still solid, still rings true. There was a pain, Try it free. Yes, finally, someone gets it. It's the demo, given the taste. Let me kick the tires. So you can see basically taken in all like the adjustments, the feedback. We've made the changes, and now this works better. So does it resonate better? Hell yeah, it does. It's more honest, more specific, and that try free button, that's the money shot. All right, so this is a quick example. So let's get another quick idea. Let's say that I want to test, let's try job to be done. I want to test this. Okay. Okay, now let's say that you stumble again on this headline, on this copy. I'm going to copy paste the same. And my question is, what part of this message relates most to the progress you are trying to make? I want to see whether or not we are hitting our job to be done here, whether we need to revise it, or what the audience thinks. So you can see how basically your imagination is the limit here with what you can actually test for. So that's why it's useful to have this framework that you can go through and just pick one or two questions under each area. It's still going to give you plenty of feedback. So let's see what Derek says. All right, progress. With that headline, stop losing years of engineering knowledge when people leave, still good. Sets the stage, preserve every technical decision, code review, and select discussion automatically. Yeah. Heard it all before. But new engineers on board 34% faster. That's what I'm talking about. That's the real. Onboarding new blood is always a pain in the ass, especially when they're fresh out of college and don't know a damn thing about real-world coding. If CodeSync can actually cut down and on that ramp-up time, that's huge for productivity. Let's see. So yeah, the onboarding speed is the part that really resonates with me. That's where I see the biggest potential for improvement. Now, if only they could get the AI to stop hallucinating and make, so this is all knowledge that these personas have injected in. But let's try and copy paste this in. Okay, so on the following value proposition copy, we've gotten some new feedback. Copy, feedback. This is the feedback and the copy. Okay, let's say feedback. Let me know if you would make any optimizations specifically when it comes to the job to be done that we are hitting in the value prop. Okay, so let's see what they're actually hired CloudSync to do. Primarily help me get new engineers productive faster. Secondary outcomes reduce, so the speed again is the first one we noticed. Secondary outcomes reduce senior engineer interruption burden, reduce low value work, justify the cost, team efficiency. So you can see that the AI can extract a lot of great insights from these quotes. But another super helpful part of doing this process is the actual quotes and using verbatim language from the quotes. Just because we know, especially if we created these AI personas accurately, we know that this is the same language that our customers and our ICPs use. So that's why even the AI here takes some snippets of language, and this is all gold that you can use in writing yourself or in writing with the AI, just because it takes into account all of the real language that we get here from these quotes, right? So this is golden. What the current copy misses, current framing, the problem, the position, CloudSync is a preservation insurance tool. Direct actual job to be done, it wants productivity acceleration tool, right? So slightly different job to be done, which is good. Obviously, we've basically asked one single person here, or we've looked at a single response. What I would do is be looking at all the other responses from the buying committee, but also I would create multiple CTO personas to see the range of responses and see whether or not we are completely aligned on that and whether we can make the call for the change. And then it gives us a couple of options, recommended options, get new engineers productive 30-50% faster. Cloud Sync automatically captures every technical decision, code review, and Slack discussions, so new hires find answers instantly. Senior engineers stop answering the same question, and institutional knowledge survives turnover. This is a good one. Second one, lead with senior engineer productivity. Stop wasting senior engineer time on questions junior engineers should be able to answer themselves. Pretty good copy, maybe a bit long-winded, but still pretty good. Cloud Sync automatically captures every technical decision, code review, and Slack discussions, so new engineers find answers instantly, on board 30-50% faster, and your senior team stays focused on high-value work. And then we have another option 3, and then it says recommended option 3, which is new engineers on board 35-50% faster without burning out your senior team. Cloud Sync automatically captures every technical decision, code review, and Slack discussion, so new hires find answers instantly instead of interrupting senior engineers, and institutional knowledge survives turnover. Fully revised. Okay, so what I would do here would probably be copy-paste this and go back to Rally and then ask. Okay, now you stumbled on this value proposition. Is this better? Does it resonate better than the one before? If so, why? And let's see. And you can see it's a constant iteration process that you need to be deliberate and methodical about. So that's why it's useful to have a framework, but also know which kind of points you need to fill in the gaps in and how to go about making those calls, right, for the strategy. So let's see. Okay, let's see. New engineers. All right, that's all right. Starts strong, gets right to the point. That's what I want to hear. Without burning our senior engineer. Now that is a selling point. Jesus, the amount of time my senior guys spend answering the same dumb questions over and over, right? So these are all golden quotes that we could literally take and use in any of our copy. So what I would do now could also be, for example, taking this. Another quick thing that you can do is, okay, we've gotten this feedback testing this latest value proposition. Can we weave in some of the voice of customer to make it more vivid and compelling? Feedback, boom. Let's see, just to play with it. Voice of customer integration, revised copy, new engineers on board 35% faster without your senior team answering the same question over and over. Cloud Sync automatically captures every technical decision, reviews customers, so new hires find answers instantly. Your senior engineers stay focused on the hard problems, and institutional knowledge survives turnover. Try free, see how Cloud Sync captures knowledge from Slack, Jira, blah, blah. Automatically, no documentation required. I'm curious to see what it changed exactly. Yeah, okay, so it changed a couple of things here without burning out your senior team. Okay, so without your senior team answering the same questions over and over. This was from voice of customer. So you can see this is a pretty, can be as comprehensive as you want it to be, but it's a pretty straightforward and I would say super compelling if you want to get into synthetic research and just in general optimizing your copy without spending months or even a lot of money on re-interviewing your customers, running surveys, or running message testing. So check that out. Check out both AI, super recommended, askrally.com if you want to try and get into synthetic research. I'll link to everything in the description below. And if you want this message testing pyramid framework, send me a message or add a comment and I'll send it over. Cheers.